1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. If they can't learn the way we teach the way they can learn. By Dr. O. Ivar Loas, unknown date. For the last decade, I've worked with different children. And one thing I've learned is that children learn differently and at a different pace. For the last 3 years, I've been studying and working with children with autism. And I learned that these children are able to accomplish any goals you set for them. This is what makes me credible to talk about my topic today. And that is that all children who have properly been diagnosed with autism or any other form of disabilities should receive services, therapy based on their needs. My name's Cindy Pena. Over the years, I've witnessed how children with disabilities have been denied services after evaluations because they would not benefit from them. For example, if a child is 6 years old with a cognitive development of a 2-year-old, this child will not receive benefits because that person will not qualify or benefit from the services. Another example is if a child is high functioning, they're also rejected and will not qualify for services because they have already they already met their goals. However, these children should receive different type of services, like recreational or psychological services. Psychological for me, it's more like me time, giving them the time to express their concerns on a one-to-one basis. Today, I'm going to give you 3 examples of why I think all children with disabilities should receive benefits. And after I'm done with my speech, I want you to understand and stand with me and advocate for these children. The first one is IDEA. Second one, it's my personal experience. And the third one, it's Helen Keller. To begin, I want you to understand what IDEA is and why it's important. IDEA is the Individuals with Disability Education Act. This is a law that's been passed on for the last several decades. This law protects children that have been diagnosed with disabilities and entitles them to a free public education and any related services that they need. After a child has been diagnosed with a disability under the Act or under IDEA, the child is evaluated. Once a child has gone through the process of evaluation, they are placed in a least restricted environment, and services are provided for them based on their needs. However, this doesn't always happen. A lot of times these children are denied services because they do not benefit from them. So my question is, if a child with disability doesn't benefit from services, then who does? Who should receive these services? Now that you understand what IDEA is and how IDEA protects the children, I want to give you my personal example. I've been working with children with autism for the last 3 to 4 years. I've witnessed cases where a 5th grader that was nonverbal was denied services because his cognitive development was at an age of a 2-year-old. However, after working with him endlessly, my coworker and I were able to push him. We're able to help him. write his name, stamp his name, recognize his name, read, and write simple sentences. He was able to communicate with us through an app. This was all possible because we did not give up on him and we believed in him. As soon as that we were able to present evidence and show that he was able to do this and accomplish this, services were granted to him. And I ask, how far or how more advanced would this child have been had he have received the services that he deserved and he was entitled to from the time he started school, and not to start at a 5th grade? Now that you see now that you've learned what IDEA is, that I've given you a personal experience and makes me credible, I'm gonna give you an example of Helen Keller. Helen Keller, as many of you guys might know or might not, was the first woman with disabilities to graduate from college back in the 1900s, over 100 years ago. When Helen Keller was a toddler, 18 months old, she suffered from a fever. She suffered from a fever that left her blind and deaf. Helen Keller was from an entitled family, and her family did not give up on her. They hired Anne Sullivan when Helen was 6 years old. Miss Sullivan taught Helen how to communicate, how to sign, and this opened opportunities for her to succeed. Helen, it's an example of what children with disabilities can do and can accomplish. Now that you've seen all of my examples, IDEA, Helen Keller, and my personal experience, I want you to keep this in mind. It's time for us to change. Let's begin to focus on the endless possibilities that children with disabilities would have if they were to receive these services, whether it's recreational, occupational, physical, or psychological. Let's give the children the same opportunity any other child has, and let's allow them to embrace their uniqueness, their strength. Let's start believing by teaching them the way they learn. Thank you. Have a good day.
Read it.